This is a podcast for everyone. Time to chat and have some fun. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk. Shawk Talk.
And we are back, everybody. Happy Shawk Talk Tuesday, as we've termed it here, everyone. We have another wonderfully exciting episode of, thank you for the follow, Liege, by the way, of Shawk Talk here. For those of you that are new to this podcast, folks, as the intro made it very clear, we are a podcast that talks about 5 key topics. We have sports, gaming, music, movies/cinema, and food/drink. And each of those topics can change from week to week based on the guests that we have during that week. Speaking of which, we have an absolute all-star of a guest this evening, everybody. He is one of my probably longest online, I'll call you a friend. Why the hell not? You know, one of my longest online friends that I have known here, guys. He has been a longtime member of the community as a whole. He's a big-time member on the YouTube community. He's been awesome to talk to through a lot of that stuff as well. So I am super excited to have him on. We've got none other than RussCooks, guys. Welcome in, Russ. How's it going, sir?
Woo, it is going amazing. Thanks so much, Shaka, for having me. I appreciate
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So for anybody that is not familiar with you, give them a little bit of a background on who you are, what you do, you know, that kind of stuff.
All right. So I guess I'm a former chef. So I used to work in a restaurant, and then I started writing cookbooks. During COVID, I started streaming. I was trying to be online with, family and friends. And at the same time, I was playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and I got into those communities, and it was just such like a welcoming community. You brought me in, you supported, my cooking streams and whatnot. And it just grew over the years. And here I am, and I have a YouTube channel. I'm not going to plug it right now.
We can talk about that later.
I have a YouTube channel.
He's kind of a big deal, guys. He's kind of a big deal.
Stop. My office is made of mahogany, and I have many leather-bound books.
Yes. Dude, I'm super stoked to have you on. I cannot wait. I especially can't wait for our final topic. Our final topic, for those of you who are not aware, is food and drink. And we've got a little homage to one of the very early tier ranking streams that we used to do on Saturdays. Russ was a special guest on that stream. It is still one of the hottest, most contentious tier ranking streams that we have ever had. And so we've got our topic is kind of themed after that in honor of that awesome tier ranking stream that we had back in the day, folks. So make sure you guys stay all the way through. Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, I do want to just point out, everybody, that we are recording this live on Twitch. You guys obviously are able to check this out on YouTube at Shawk Talk or on any whatever podcast platform you guys use, Spotify, Apple, all that jazz. All that's available. But we are live streaming over on Twitch. So if at any point you would like to be a member on the chat, you guys heard me shout out Liege a little bit earlier, feel free to head over to Shaka08 on Twitch, and you guys can be a part of the live chat as we are recording this. So it'd be awesome to have you guys here for the live recording of it as well. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into our very first topic this evening, which is
the Spread on Sports.
All right. I am super stoked for this, Russ. So we're going to talk about something a little controversial, I think. And I'll get into why I picked this here in a moment. We're going to be talking about esports. So right now, there's a big push. So the Summer Olympics are going to be coming here to the U.S. very, very, very soon. And there is a big push right now to get esports as an Olympic certified event. And there's a lot of, controversy over whether it is something that A, is a sport in general, and B, is it something worthy of Olympic consideration. With that being said, first of all, and if you make a lot of people mad, it's okay. Don't feel bad about it. Do you think
I will never feel bad about it? Just so we're clear.
Spoken like someone that's big on YouTube. We all know. If you've ever done big YouTube content, guys, don't ever feel bad about banning people. I banned my own sister. Fun fact. Anyway.
Oh
I didn't know it was her at the time, but she made a comment.
Thanksgiving's
I was
supposed to
like,
be a blast.
ban. Yeah. Anyway, so, do you think, first of all, that esports is a sport in general? Not even getting into the Olympics part of it yet. Do you think esports is a sport?
I think it can be. Absolutely. Yeah. Why not? It's competition. You have teams. There's a game. There's rules. Why not? It fits all the definition of sport. Why not? Yes.
I'm kind of with you on that. Like, the definition of sport is that it's something competitive, right? And that there are winners and losers in that scenario. Do I think it's a physical sport? Not necessarily. But you know what? Actually, I kind of don't know that I fully agree with that now that I think of it. Like, I actually in some ways would argue it requires more skill than a lot of other sports do that are out there. Because of the fine motor skills that are required for it.
It's twitchy, it's
twitchy.
How fast your reaction is.
It's true.
I mean, you were starting to go down a little bit of a road there. Maybe it's not, physical. It doesn't have to be physical to be a sport. The thing that popped into my head as something that's very similar would be like Formula One, which is huge. It's great. Is that, how physical is that? I mean, yes, you get a little bit of G forces, but it's not like you're running down the track. It's not like you're bumping,
right.
Shoving people, tackling, it's twitchy. You have to have very quick movements with reaction speed. But again, it's comparable, I think, to esports.
That's a very good comparison.
We get a lot of haters. Formula One, listen, that's a great sport. It is a great sport. I'll just say that so I don't get egg thrown at me.
I Formula One. So here's the thing for me with this. Formula One's a great comparison. I have always grown up having the opinion, and I still largely have this opinion, that NASCAR is not a sport. It is. It's racing. It's a car race, but I could do the same thing just driving down the highway. That doesn't make it a sport. Like. There's nothing there, in my opinion, that is physically demanding enough to make it a sport. It's the vehicle that is winning the match. It is the changing of tires, the changing of gas, all of that stuff. Like, if you ever watched Ford 500, like it's all the fine tuning of the engine and everything essentially that makes it win, not necessarily the athleticism or physical skills of that driver. So I've never considered that a sport. F1, Formula One is a little bit more different. I think that requires more skill than NASCAR does.
Because there's braking, there's turning. You have to know the angles at which to make this turn, because you can do like a tight or out the side, and that will determine how fast you can accelerate and how much you have to slow down. I understand what you're saying with NASCAR, but I'll respectfully disagree. If you've ever gone on a long drive, like 4 hours on the highway, like, it is physically demanding. Like,
I get that.
You're tired at the end of it, and that's like you're driving at 70 miles an hour, and you don't have other people that are like racing. You're just racing yourself. You just want to get where you're going. You don't have other people trying to get in front of you. And, is Formula One probably more demanding? Absolutely. But is NASCAR still something? I think so. And we've been doing it forever. I mean,
you raise a good point.
Doing races like that forever.
I do. Like, if I'm towing, like I have a camper that I just got last year. If I'm towing that like 5 to 6 hours in a day, I'm pretty beat by the time I'm done. Now, I am also like setting up the camper and tearing down the camper and all that jazz. So some of that's physically demanding, but just the drive itself, I get you. I feel that. I'm still not going to say it's a sport though, just because I got to hold true to my mantra.
Political suicide right there. That's like a third of the country you just alienated.
Yeah. Well, so we'll get into that some other time. But there's a pretty strong passion for me with that. There's a reason that we have a Talladega Nights sound alert, because I am not a fan. Celtic Legends, thank you for the follow. Stone Lion Strategies, thank you for the follow as well, guys. Appreciate that. Sorry, we're a little off track, but that's okay. You see what I did there? A little off track. Getting back into esports. Well, here's our transition. So racing games is a great example of esports. This is like NASCAR. So if if NASCAR is not a sport, then there's no way that a racing game could be a sport, right?
Well, now we're getting into the minutia here. We're really diving deep.
We are,
And I
yes.
think everyone needs to buckle up and put on your wellies because it might get messy. Because I think, yes, I think esports can be a thing, but what is the game? What is the game that you are sporting over?
That's a
Like
very
soccer,
good point.
it's easy. Basketball, it's easy.
Yeah.
You know the rules. Like, what is it? Fortnite? Is it Counter-Strike? Is it Rainbow Six Siege? Is it racing? Is it some fighter pilot game? Like, what is it? And then when you pick one, like, why that one? Why not another one? Because some people are going to be better at one versus another because it's completely different game style. So it's like, at least in the Olympics, you have like whatever, the 100-meter dash, the 200, 300, 400, then you have the marathon. None of those marathon runners are doing the 50-yard dash.
Right.
None of them, because they are marathon runners. That's what they're good at.
So especially,
so now you have the esports, like, okay, so you have someone that's great at Fortnite. You are going to be horrible in Escape from Tarkov because you can't build a building in front of you.
I was just going to
it's
say,
like,
that's such a good point because, obviously FIFA, that makes sense as being a sporting event, any kind of game like that. But marbles? Marbles is super popular. How is that considered to be a sport? Like, get out of here. Like, there's literally just random luck in marbles. Like, there's no way that should count as an esport or a sport in general.
I agree. And I think any esport where you're playing a sporting game is not an esport. How about that? So if you're playing soccer or racing or whatever on a video game, that is not an esport.
I think we just solved this dilemma of the next part of this question here. So we've established a pretty clear line in the sand at this point, guys. And the big debate, like I said, is should esports be an Olympic sport? Well, I think it's pretty obvious then. If it's not an Olympic sport, then the esport shouldn't count as an Olympic sport either, right?
Oh, gosh.
You said it.
But that's not. Is that the game that they're playing in the Olympics, or are they playing? Because
I'll give it an example here in a moment. But I think they're talking about just the general concept as a whole of esports. Any gaming thing that is competitive in any nature can be considered an Olympic event. It'd be like I'll use the swimming equivalent because that's what I'm more familiar with. It'd be like having a butterfly versus the breaststroke versus backstroke. Like it's different games, but it's still considered gaming. So it's just different events. That's all.
Yes, but you can also not have all the events. I mean, they have breaststroke, they have backstroke. They don't have like drowning. They don't have hold your breath contest. It's like,
it's true.
You can still limit it. Esports, fine, Olympic sport, but it has to be, first person shooter, 2 teams, 5 people each, whatever it is. You set the boundaries, and that's what. I mean, they were looking at making paintball a sport again, similar concept,
right?
Just not virtual. Like, yeah, okay, make that happen.
That's a very good point. I didn't think about that whole aspect of outlining it as events. So, like, I was just thinking of it from a general concept of esports. Should it be or not be? Like, I was going very Romeo and Juliet with this, or is that Hamlet?
I think so.
I think that's Hamlet.
Think so. I think why not? Why not?
Yeah, but I don't hate the idea of saying, okay, only certain types of games can be considered. Like, so sporting games gets an automatic in, obviously, because they're already Olympic events. Why? And I understand, like, first-person shooter games. That kind of makes sense to me to some degree, too, because you have natural winners and losers in that scenario. You're competing against each other type of situation versus something that's more like sandbox-based. So, like, God of War. I'll use God of War as an example. You can't have that as an esport game. Like, how are you going to have somebody competing against somebody in God of War? Like, you can't. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
So I think without a doubt, like you said, you kind of have to pick and choose events. Yeah.
And we have parameters in Olympics already, so it's not a huge stretch.
Yeah.
We have forward running. We don't have backward running.
There's no 3-legged races at this point.
There's no 3-legged races.
Yeah. Very good. Very good points. So if we had to say just yes or no, So obviously, I think we found the correct answer, which is we allow some events based on the category.
I would say yes. If I had to do yes or no, yes.
Okay, so you would say yes across the board. Esports are okay for an Olympic sport.
Yes.
I think I would actually agree. What was the recent addition? They just added. Oh, why am I blanking on what it was? They just added something recently. Was it breakdancing? Yeah, it was breakdancing.
It was breakdancing, but I think they took it away.
I think so. That's the thing. They're doing like a rotation of these unusual things, but like everyone was like just fascinated with breakdancing because it was something that was totally new and different than normal. And
what about, I think, flag football? Someone in chat, let me know. I think flag football is coming up.
I think that is being discussed. Yes, I can't remember for sure if it's confirmed or not at this point, but I know it was being discussed.
For 2028, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, those are really good points. So with our sports category, guys, obviously it said the spread on sports. So usually we will do an over-under, which is a spread. But for today, we're going to do a money line. Our money line for our sports topic today is NHL Finals or League of Legends event. Which one do you think is going to have the higher viewership rating? And the reason I choose this is because League of Legends is the largest viewership of any esports event. And the NHL is one of the lowest in the major four sports, and it is an Olympic event. So, which one do you think is going to have the higher viewership between the two?
Without a doubt in my mind, because you highlighted exactly what I was thinking. Ricky P here in chat, I'm just going to have to shut you down real fast, real hard. It's going to be League of Legends, hands down.
Yeah, as much as I love hockey and I like Canada for the most part, but Canada, you're getting wrecked on this one, man. The League of Legends is gonna destroy you guys, in my opinion. To be clear, the numbers are actually pretty close. So when I pick money lines like this, I do try to pick things that are fairly close, so it's not like a landslide. But I still think the League of Legends event's gonna beat it. Like,
it's gonna be a landslide. It is gonna be.
I agree.
A landslide.
I think just for that in itself, it means why not give it a shot? If you're going to get your viewership bumped up, give it a go, right? Makes sense.
100%.
Sorry,
100%.
Ricky P.
I'm not going to watch either. How about that? I'm not going to see.
You know what? I won't watch the League of Legends event. I might watch the NHL Finals if the Pens are able to take out Philly. There's hope as of this recording, guys. As of this recording, there is hope. We believe. I believe that they will win. I believe that they will win. To quote some more World Cup and Olympic chants. Anyway. Any closing thoughts on that, Russ, before we move to the next topic?
I will say some closing thoughts on esports in general is I don't know whether it'll ever reach the furor of kind of like NFL's, that's like the number one sport. I don't know whether it ever will. And I was actually thinking about this the other day randomly. It was like shower thoughts as I'm sudsing up my body.
Hey, that's a different platform, sir.
Sorry,
that's not for Twitch.
I digress. And I don't know whether it's because it doesn't have that bromanship kind of, high five, slam your bellies into each other. That could be part of it, because that tends to not be what gamers are all about.
Yeah.
And still high five and whatnot, but it's not really that locker room talk, bro code stuff. But also there's not, you're going after like, you follow players, not necessarily teams. There's no like city, like
right.
If Boston had like an esports team in New York and LA, and then they have an esports team, then maybe. But I think you have these like random teams and whatever. You'll have people following them, but you won't get anywhere close to a lot of these major sporting events. NFL, MLB, NBA. I mean, come on.
That's a really good point. Like, there's no regional affiliation with a lot of that stuff, but just knowing a lot, like, so again, I have my niece she's like middle school age right now, being a teacher, seeing this massive movement towards content creation, like the number of so with me now, so we talked about this before stream, with me now going on to Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that, I'm seeing a ton of former students out there that are seeing my content now, and they're just fascinated by the fact that I'm a content creator, and they're all like super jealous of it and everything else. Cause that's what kids now, those are their dreams. Like they all just live and die on becoming a content creator. And so I think that our generation doesn't see as much value in esports because it's not something that we really valued that much. It's more of a hobby for us. But for them, like that's their career goals. You know what I mean? So like it'd be like somebody going pro in the NFL for us when we were growing up. Like I think there's a lot more traction as the Gen Z and Gen Alpha start to become older than what it is now. So
good point.
Yeah, I think that's going to shift over time. But let us know in the comments, folks, where are your thoughts on this? Should esports be an Olympic sport moving forward? And if so, do you think the NHL finals are going to have lower viewership? Rip Canada. All right, moving on to our second topic, guys.
Galaxy of Gaming.
So this is kind of related, obviously, to what we just talked about. We were discussing sports, but we got into gaming a good bit. This is more gaming specific here with our topic. And this one is a fun one because we do a reasonable or ridiculous rating of this. So we have a statement that we're about to make, and then we decide whether that statement is reasonable or ridiculous, and then why. Our statement for today is achieving 100% on a game is overrated. Before we get your reasonable and ridiculous, Russ, have you ever 100%ed a game before?
Probably.
You don't know?
I can't say for sure. I've played a lot of games for a long time. I've been a gamer for decades.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive, like, GoldenEye. Did I 100% that?
Oh.
Almost definitely.
Really?
Almost definitely. I remember
wow,
going through
okay.
and getting all those. You had to complete the tasks. You get those, like, not cheat codes, but like the things. So like your bullet for paintballs or whatever when you did the multiplayer. So yeah. I think this is tough, and before I answer, I'm just gonna dive a little bit into why I think it's tough.
Okay.
Because I think it's changed over the years. Because
Okay.
I think it used to be something worthwhile, where it was challenging enough but doable enough, and it occupied your time, and there wasn't a lot of like minutia tedium to doing it. You were good at the game, and you just could do all the stuff. I think like Banjo Kazooie or Tooie or whatever it was. You had to get all the golden puzzles. Like, yeah, that was like fun. It was, but nowadays I feel like they just pack it in there just to make it like almost unachievable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if today I would say that is a reasonable statement. It is overrated, 100%.
That's a very good point. I had not thought about this from a shifting lens perspective, is what I'll call that. So for instance, the chat is raising a really good question here about really like classic games. So like, is finishing Super Mario Brothers 1 on the OG NES considered 100%? Like just completing some of these really old classic games that didn't have all of these built-in trophies and things like that for you to complete. Is that a 100%? And I would, in my opinion, I would say yes. Just because. So like Easter eggs, for instance, like a lot of these games, if you were trying to get these trophies, so like I compare ultimately a lot of times to God of War because that's the game that I'm the most familiar with. That is the one game I have 100%ed, and they had an outline of here are all the trophies you can get. Here's how you achieve 100%. I think if a game doesn't have that, then those Easter eggs don't count as 100%ing because they are purely Easter eggs in that scenario. They're not meant for you to achieve those things. So like, a Super Mario Brothers game, could you find the whistle or whatever that got you to fast track and stuff like that? Could you try to find those things and then do that after you beat it fully all the way through the first time? Sure. You could consider not 100% if you didn't do those things, but if it's not advertised as being something you can do, then I don't think it counts. That's kind of where I'm at on that. Are you on board with that interpretation?
I'm on board with that, and I really, really like that distinction between an Easter egg versus not. I think
Yes.
that's a very, very important distinction.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's like whatever, not the latest Legend of Zelda, but one of the Legends of Zelda, you had to be in like a certain area at a certain time with the moon up, and then like the dragon appears, and if you shoot it, you get a scale. Like, is that sort of an Easter egg, or do you have to do that to 100% the game? To me, that's more of an Easter egg. It's fun. And it's like, oh hey, look, I discovered this by accident. It's a really cool thing they put in the game. I like that, but it wasn't like necessary to complete the tasks that you needed to do. So, I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that.
I think it just makes it a lot easier to kind of delineate that, because it's tough. Now we think of everything as being 100%able because everything has all of these things outlined, and B, you can go on the internet and find out how to do these things. So the only thing that's keeping you from 100%ing them is time, maybe some skill depending on the game. Versus, Super Mario Brothers, there was no way to know if you had done it all or not. So I just think that's pretty obvious. Now, with that being said, like you mentioned, whether things were designed intentionally to be fetch quests is what I'll call it. Like, so I think, again, God of War 1 versus like the most recent God of War Ragnarok. So God of War 1, most of that 100%ing things was not going and finding these little random things throughout the map and collecting all this different stuff. It was, can you achieve this really, really difficult skill-based thing? If so, then that counts. Like, it was more of a showcase of your skills and abilities than it was necessarily a fetch quest. Whereas I feel like now a lot more of the 100%ing of games is fetch quests. It's just trying to get, what I would term it is the companies are trying to get more usage out of your purchase. Like, they want you to invest more time and effort into the game. And what's the easiest way to do that? It's to have all of these things randomly placed throughout the game that you have to go find.
And I also think, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I don't like that as much. It's still, in my opinion, 100%ing a game, but it's not as, prestigious is the word I'll use compared to the OG 100%ings.
Yeah, I get that. And I think even just tying into that, like Death Stranding, they got, it was like a great game, but people slammed it because that's all it was. It was like, go from point A to point B and carry this. Like, it was this fetch quest. But I think, again, we're getting into it now. I think Steam actually kind of helped turn it into the overratedness that it is today. And that was, with all like the unlocks, those achievements that Steam put on the games, whether or not they were in the game.
Right.
And now it became even more measured. And then you finish a level and it's like, well, you did 98%. You go to the next one, but you only did 98%. And it's like these things, putting them into the game, it just makes it a little bit, a little bit overrated. And to be honest, some people probably like that. They love the challenge. They can do it. They'll do it over and over again. That's how my childhood was. I played Lion King on Super Nintendo, like trying to jump from giraffe head to giraffe head. I played Battletoads, that level with I did all that, but I kept doing it over and over and over again to try and get better. And I can see that, but at some point it's just too much. And Stanley, I think it was like the Stanley Parable, didn't it kind of like make fun of that? It's like, don't log into the game for 5 years and you get an achievement. It's like, you can't 100% the game unless you don't play it for 5 years, something like that. It's like,
that's kind of like I think of Ready Player One. The movie, I did not read the book. I heard the book is way, way better than the movie. But still, even then, I think about little things like that where, like, there can be little Easter eggs, but then there also can be little homages to how ridiculous some of these things are.
yes.
And I'll say this. So, like, to be clear, I think if you love playing the game, I don't have as much of an issue with the fetch quests. So, like, again, I'll use God of War Ragnarok as an example here. That, to me, was much more fetch questy than the original God of War. But I love the game so much that, like, I didn't 100% it because Ghost of Yotei came out, and so I wanted to switch to playing Ghost of Yotei. But I was investing a ton of time and effort into 100% in the game just because I like playing the game. And it just gave me more reason to play the game. So in that scenario, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, even though they are more fetch questy and it's just having you put more time into the game. If you like it and it's fun, more power to you. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, so
Yeah.
I think it depends on how well they execute it as well as the intention to some degree.
Exactly. But I think if I had to pick a side, I'm leaning towards it's overrated. So,
so that brings us, and I gotta have you have the right say the right words here. So our comment, I think we've made it pretty clear kind of what our thoughts are on this. Achieving 100% on a game is overrated, reasonable, or ridiculous?
reasonable. Final answer.
I want to side with you, but I'm going with ridiculous, guys. I'm going ridiculous. The amount of time and effort that goes into getting 100% on games is absolutely either a time sink or a skill sink. And if you reach that 100%, brag it up, baby. Brag it up, showcase it, make it well known that it's great. It is totally not ridiculous, even though I kind of wanted to go with reasonable. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. I got that off my chest. Let us know in the comments, guys. Do you think that is reasonable or ridiculous? Are you with us on a lot of our thoughts on how that works? I thought all of our comments were pretty solid. I thought those were pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's just a question of how much do you value 100% a game is what it comes down to, guys. All right. Next up, we're going to move into some music. We've got
Musical music.
This is one I'm kind of excited to get into. I know, Russ, you are not necessarily a big music aficionado, but this is going to transition really well with our cinema topic as well. And I think this is just something that anybody can get into and can debate because there's so many different ways to approach this. So when we do our music musings, guys, what we do here is we have an A versus B. We have which one is better, worse, that kind of thing, and you choose one of the two. So our question today is, who is the better musician? Now, I say musician intently. I don't mean singer. Who is the better musician? Michael Jackson or Elvis Presley?
I gotta be honest. I think this is relatively straightforward for me. And I'm
Really?
gonna say musician.
Okay.
Not singer, not personal life. Okay. So we're gonna skirt some stuff there. Musician.
I'm surprised you
I gotta
think
go
this
Michael
is,
Jackson.
I'm surprised you think
I
this
gotta
is
go
such an
Michael
easy
Jackson.
choice.
Well, to me, musician is not just like necessarily how well you play a guitar.
Yeah.
It's everything that goes into the song.
Okay.
And listen, I see both sides. So I'm not backtracking here, but I'll just say like Elvis Presley, huge, amazing, great musician, essentially invented rock and roll as we know it, paved the
Okay.
way for someone like Michael Jackson to come along. But again, just a thought, just because the person invented paint doesn't mean they're the best artist. And you can draw some stick figures on the cave walls, but then Leonardo da Vinci is going to come along and do some fun stuff with that. So I think Michael Jackson kind of, stepped it up a bit. I think he was just so involved with every aspect of the song, the music, everything and he created it. He created it from nothing. And I think a lot of Elvis Presley, I think a lot of it was kind of like his interpretation. I don't need, like, again, and correct me if I'm wrong, did Elvis Presley write all of his own songs or did he have help?
So yeah, we can kind of talk a little bit about that.
And I'll get in because I know Michael Jackson didn't write all of his songs either.
Right.
But I just wanted to, because I don't know it about Elvis Presley.
So from gathering from what you're saying, you're pretty aware that Michael Jackson, wrote a lot of his stuff, or at least collaborated heavily on the production of his things, which I think most people are aware of. If anybody's familiar with Michael Jackson, I think most people are aware that he was pretty heavily involved in the writing process. So like, it's very different than like if we think about the pop music of like the early 2000s, around the 2010s era, like the Britney Spearses of the world, Shakira's of the world, like so many of those musicians, they never wrote any of their music. It was always, it was fun fact. There's actually a really, really good documentary on the fact that Sweden produces some of the absolute top tier pop music writers of all time. Like and like when they talk about Ludwig Ludwig Göransson before he became big. Like he wrote some of this pop music that became huge, and no one knew about him. And then he went into the cinema circuit, and now everybody knows about him. But Michael Jackson.
I'm just going to jump in because I
yeah,
like
go
that,
for it.
just before we get back into my because like Britney Spears, the "Hit Me Baby One More Time."
Yes.
It was like a poor translation. It was supposed to be "Hit Me Up" or something like that. Like hit my phone, hit me up. But it was a poor translation, so it became "Hit Me Baby One More Time." It was just like, but it was written. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yes, you were saying Michael Jackson.
Yeah. So he is heavily involved in a lot of his writing, and again, it is a very collaborative thing. It's not just him. So like for instance, Skywalker Vader, great comment on chat. Another legend in the music industry, Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones was very heavily involved in Michael Jackson in the creation and collaboration of his music. He's been involved in tons and tons of other people as well, and helped them to become big and famous and such. But Michael Jackson is not just the singer and performer. I think that's something that you pointed out very well, and I just want to kind of hammer home on as well. That's definitely, he's not just a singer. Like if we think of the Jackson 5.
Yes.
Elvis Presley, I think he's less known in that regard. Most everyone thinks of him as being the famous singer and a singer alone for the most part. Especially because there are so many, what's the word I'm looking for? Impersonators out there. Like, so everyone just almost thinks of him as being a caricature. You know what I mean? Like they don't take him seriously, and the things that he has done and created in the music industry. With that being said, have you seen the Elvis movie that came out not too long ago?
I have seen most of it.
Okay.
But not all of it. And I have not seen the latest Michael release that just came out.
So I have not seen the Michael one. I have seen the Elvis one. So one of the big things with him is I don't want to say steal. He would use heavily the influence of soul music, church music in particular, and the hymns that we would have in the white communities at the time, and then combine that with kind of that R&B feel and sound that they had in the black communities. And he was one of the first ones ever to do that, to combine those two sounds together. Now, did he actually do a lot of the writing? Not necessarily. Again, it was a very collaborative thing, but he still pushed that boundary and was heavily influential in pushing to have that happen. So fun fact, I was in Nashville. I've been there twice now. And this last one, we went to the RCA studios and did a tour of the RCA studios, and you see a bunch of footage of him in the studio and doing the recordings and everything else. And he is very active in the writing process of it. He's not just there singing and then leaving, so he's a lot more involved as a musician than I think people realize he is. They just think of him as a vocalist. But he is very heavily involved in the creation aspect of things. And he played guitar relatively well as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
So I just wanted to point out that he's not, I think, just a vocalist like a lot of people think he is. So
no, he definitely, he created a new sound.
Right.
Back to the Future. Your kids are going to love it. This new sound that came out. Yes, he created that by merging those things. And he was very, very talented with the guitar. I'm still going with Michael Jackson.
Still going with Michael Jackson.
And I think a lot of people also think mainly, and again, trying to keep personal life out of this.
Yeah.
But I even think like the Jackson 5 kind of held him back almost. I think he kind of needed to be on his own.
I would agree.
Get out and get that sound. And not a lot of people, because he's always performing and dancing, he's not necessarily playing instruments, but that's how he wrote those songs.
Right.
And he could just he'd sit down at a piano and just play by ear.
Mm-hmm.
Like the talent for that, like guitar. Like you just pick it up and you go, like it was just like amazing. That's not to diminish Elvis Presley.
Right.
Or his contribution or his talent or whatnot. I just think, you got the king of rock, right? And then you got the king of pop.
Yep.
And I'm leaning towards the king of pop here. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is a tough one. And so just a to kind of talk before I give my answer, you talked about separating the personal life from the music. That I think is something that is important. We've talked a little bit about that on some of my reaction videos. So like Wagner is a prime example in classical music. He was historically and very well known to be an anti-Semitic person. Like he had terrible, terrible views, but we still, appreciate the music that he made and the impacts that he's had on music from a historical standpoint. He's had a massive impact on music history. So do we condone what he's done as a person? No. But we can still appreciate the music and his impact on the music industry. And the same thing is, I think, true with both of these two. I mean, Elvis has had some not great stuff in his personality, his personal life, just as Michael Jackson has had. So I still think we can appreciate the music and their impact on music without including, their personal life in that kind of thing. So just a little tidbit with that. But for me, I got to go Michael Jackson too. So Elvis Presley, he was great at pushing the boundaries, like I mentioned earlier, but he still, I might piss people off with this. He copied a lot of music. He copied and kind of stole a lot of music. Michael Jackson, yes, he would use things that existed and combine things, but he wouldn't take entire lines of music or entire chord progressions of songs and copy and paste it over top of something else. He would use, aspects of a genre of music to influence the way he wrote things. So much more of his stuff, in my opinion, was very original compared to that of Elvis. So that's kind of where that's what's going to tilt it for me towards Michael Jackson's favor. More of his stuff was original compared to Elvis, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say Elvis was ahead of his time.
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of that goes on right now. It's a lot of stealing throughout the industry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially now that we're into the, hip hop era, when hip hop hit in the 80s and moving on from that point, like it's all sampling. So, I mean, like literally they created a term for it to not call it stealing. It's sampling. Like,
Sampling.
So, but we've made a lot of people not happy, both in chat and in Nashville and Graceland, guys.
I'm not eating. I'm just sampling around Costco all day.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments, folks. Do you agree with us? Who was the better musician, Michael Jackson or Elvis Presley? I really look forward to comments on this one because I think people are going to be pretty heated on this one. I
don't look forward to these comments.
Yeah, there's not an easy answer on this one, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to it. With that being said, guys, we're going to move into our next topic, which is very much related to what we just discussed.
Scintillating cinema.
So we talked a little bit about Michael Jackson. Obviously, we alluded to the Michael movie that just came out as of this recording. The Elvis movie that came out on HBO not too long ago. We had the Bruce Springsteen biopic that just came out not too long ago, as well as the Bob Dylan one not too long ago as well. So we've had a lot of these big musician biopics that have come out, and obviously Bohemian Rhapsody, the Queen movie, that's probably the biggest one of late. With I can't remember his name right now, winning an Oscar for Best Actor. It's definitely a very big genre in cinema. Even though when we think of, at least for me, when I think of like big genres in cinema, I don't think of musician biopics ever. Like this is not something I think of, but there's a lot of movies that are pretty big and have done very, very well and are musician biopics. With that being said, Russ, what are your thoughts on this genre of music? Do you love it and you're saying 2 thumbs up for this all day long? You're like, I like it, 1 thumb up, and it could do without, 1 thumb down, or you hate it, 2 thumbs down?
I just want to clarify one thing before I dive in. Because I was a little bit of a cinemaphile myself, especially in college, took a lot of cinema classes, horror movies, rom-com stuff, but like classic stuff. So, and I also did a lot of writing in college, especially about movies. So I can appreciate them from that cinema kind of aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not necessarily like if I'm going to a movie, I don't necessarily, I'm not like, I gotta see that, you know.
Mm.
But that's, again, that's just not my taste. So I'm gonna give it one thumbs up.
Okay.
But I do appreciate that whole kind of like genre, and it's not, you know, you have like action drama and it like, or you know, thriller horror, and this is I get a very lot more kind of honed, a lot more specific, but I'm there for it because I think they are really good stories, and mainly because you get a lot of like headlines, so you might only know someone from the headlines or like a crazy TikTok, or you know, someone dancing around with knives, like you're like, what
Right.
is that about? But then you see the movie and you're like, oh, okay, see some stuff is going on, so that makes sense. Yeah, 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 no problem. But they do really good storytelling, and I think that because it's about a person, it has to be really accurate. It has to be done really, really well. So
Mm.
they don't really phone it in, at least not that often, and they tend to be very high caliber, high production value. And I can really appreciate it. And the actors always get into it. You know, they'll watch like the show and they'll like do like the shot for shot remake,
Hmm.
and they're all about it. So I can appreciate it, and you really do get to see kind of like behind the scenes, you know, like what's going on in their life. You know, why is this person the way they are? And it just really, it kind of like opens your mind up, and it also kind of helps you relate to that person more. Whereas, you know, you might not think you related to them at all, but you're like, holy cow, she's going through this or he's going through that. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So you
So
bring up a really good point. One of the first things that you mentioned there, it was actually a little bit of a topic that we had on a previous episode. I can't recall off the top of my head which episode it was, but we talked about, um, in theater movies versus at home movies, whether the theater itself is a dying thing. And we talked about how, at least in my opinion, the only movies really that still deserve to be in a theater setting are the big budget, cinema blockbuster type movies, which the biopics are not that. Like, even though they tend to have a higher, well, you know what? Actually, the budget kind of depends. Sometimes the budget can be pretty low. It usually depends on the actor or actress that you're hiring as to that budget. If you're getting a really
mhm.
big name person, then it's a bigger budget. But like, so
But
for
don't you want that
instance,
surround sound and that darkness? You know, I,
well,
I don't have that in my living room.
oh, so
I
yeah,
have Legos that I step on and crappy, drafty windows that let out sound on my left side.
I was gonna say, I think it depends on the setup you have at home. But if you don't have a good sound system, then I agree, it is better in a theater because you do want that really high quality sound. And obviously, they put a lot of effort into the audio recording and mixing and everything.
Exactly. Well, let's just back it. You guys have sound systems? You have systems? I have a TV.
I do. So that was one of
Nice.
the things we talked about. Like, so I have a pretty nice surround sound system and Atmos sound system. So back when COVID hit, we got those stimulus checks, and
Yes.
I, rather than putting in savings, and I didn't really need
Why
anything
would
at the
you?
time, I was like, I'm going to invest the money back into the economy. So I made the decision to get a really nice Dolby Atmos sound system and a
You
nice
did your
HD
patriotic
TV.
duty.
I did, yes. I tried to help the country out, guys. Yeah.
There
So
you go.
so I do have a really nice sound system, and the TV is pretty nice too. I can't replicate what's actually in a theater. Like, I don't know how big an actual movie theater screen is. I mean, mine's an 85 inch. It's pretty big, but it's
All
not
right.
a
Yeah, nice.
theater. Like, and even my
Yeah.
sound system, which is really nice, it's not going to compare to a really high end theater where you've got 20 different speakers that all have different inputs. Like, so yeah, I mean, it's hard to compete with that, but I don't think most biopics have high enough quality visual and audio to warrant me going into the theater. With that being
Mhm.
said, I still think it's really, really high quality cinema. And one of the reasons is it kind of what you pointed out. Like, when when you go to watch the sequel trilogy in Star Wars, they don't know what the script is when they're making the movie because they
Yeah.
haven't figured it out yet. So it's a terrible movie because they don't know what the story is that they're telling. But when you go to do
Yeah.
a biopic, it's a really fully well flushed out story. Like, literally, usually it's based on a book that somebody has published, and so they have a wealth of knowledge. They have a ton of stuff to use, and it's very nuanced and makes a ton of sense. So because of that, that's I think one of the reasons why those are always nominated for awards. It's not Oscar bait. We talked about that with Egnard. Some movies, some genres are very much Oscar bait. I think those are not. I think for the most part, that's put out because people that are fans of those musicians, they want to see it. Like people that love Queen, I guarantee you, they all went to watch the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. Like, there's no way someone's not going to want to go see that and see all that background and history and everything behind the scenes, like you said, with those groups. So
and
they sell well.
You see them sing and perform.
Right.
It's like it's not them, but I mean, you see it. It's entertaining.
Well, and oftentimes, again, we talked about the quality of the audio with those movies. They really go above and beyond to splice together both the original recordings as well as the current actors singing as well. So, like, again, Bohemian Rhapsody is a great example of that. They took both vocals and splice them over top of each other. So you're hearing both Freddie Mercury as well as, again, I'm blanking on the guy's name.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, the role there. But so you're hearing both, and it's just so well done that it's a really good genre of movie. It's weird. Like, I don't think of it as like, I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the next Musician biopic to come out. Like
exactly. That's why I couldn't give it 2.
I get
clamoring down.
Yeah, I get you, man. It's not like Lord of the Rings or something like that where I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to go see it. But it's still really high quality cinema for the most part, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I have to go 2 thumbs up with this, man.
Okay.
Like, you raise a really good point. Like, it's not something you clamor over. I get that, but I think just here's the key thing for me: the history of really high-end, well-done movies in this genre make it 2 thumbs up for me. If we had a bunch of slop coming out, then yeah, I'd probably lower it down to 1 or maybe 1 down, possibly even. But just the high quality that we've had. Thank you, Jedi Gothic in chat. Rami Malek. I think Malik is how you say it. I always say Malik. But Rami Malek was the name of the actor, guys, that played Freddie Mercury. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated in chat.
Yeah.
But really, really, really good discussion there, sir. Any final thoughts on that before we move on to our next one?
No, I think we nailed it. I think you nailed, the vast majority of it. And again, you look back at like the history of this genre, and they're all like very highly rated, award-winning, award-nominated movies, like all of them. I mean, there's a few examples. And then you look at like you said, the schlop that like Netflix puts out for like action movies, and I'm like, this is garbage.
Oh yeah,
I would never watch this.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
I want to point out again, guys. Again, shout out to Jedi Gothic in chat. If any of you guys would love to join the chat and kind of participate in the recording of this, guys, again, head over to Shaka08 on Twitch, where we do our live recording. I also want to shout out, because I totally forgot this, when we did our gaming statement, achieving 100% on a game is overrated. I want to shout out J-Murph, one of our members here. That was actually a suggestion by him. We do take suggestions on topics as well as questions from you guys, the audience. You guys can head over to Discord if you would like to give us those suggestions and ideas. You guys can find that in the description below if you're watching this after the recording. If you are watching live, you can check that out in the chat that I just put in there. So, again, shout out to J-Murph and anybody else that is submitting ideas for us to discuss. Much appreciated. All right, Russ, with that being said, are you ready to pick up our final and probably most controversial topic of the evening?
I'm ready to heat things up.
Let's do it. Let's get spicy.
Tiramisu tap room.
How am I going to alienate some
All right, guys. We've got our tiramisu tap room for our final topic. This is easily my favorite of the 5 just because it's fun. It's just so much fun to discuss. So we are going to be talking about food and drinks in general. Our specific topic for today is desserts. Now, we're going to be talking general desserts, not necessarily something specific, but we can certainly reference specific items within these genres. I'll put it that way. For those of you that are not familiar with a tier ranking, so we have 5 levels with this tier ranking. We have an S tier. That's the very top tier. It's the absolute best that there is. You have A tier, which is really, really good. B, good. C, or as we like to call it here, Canada. It's just okay. To be clear, we love Canadians here. Pretty much all of my mods are Canadian, but we love to give them a hard time at the same time. And our final tier, the very bottom, guys, is D. No one wants to be in D, guys. So that is a general tier ranking and the format here. Most people are familiar with that if you're familiar with tier rankings. The twist that we add with this tier ranking here at Shawk Tawk is that you can only put one item in a tier. So it kind of forces you to maybe make something better or worse than you might want it to be. Okay. Yes, blame Canada, chat. Blame Canada. With that being said, our 5 dessert categories, we'll call these, is cookies, pudding/custard, pies/tarts, frozen treats. That's a very, very broad category on that one, and cakes. You could include cupcakes in that as well if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go in the order that I said these, Russ.
I'm going to put whoopie pies in with cakes too. I'm doing that.
Oh, that's a good question.
No one can stop me.
Whoopie
no
pies?
one can stop me.
I would say that's a cake. Yeah, that's a cake. I'm with you on that one.
Cake with frosting. It's the frostings in them.
I always thought of it as being a cookie when I was younger, but no, it's not that I'm older.
It looked like a cookie, and you grab it, and then you bit into it, and you were a little disappointed at first because you're like, it's not the cookie I thought. It's not like an Oreo. It's not a giant Oreo. It's a whoopie pie. But then you're like, actually, it's not bad. Yeah, we've all been there.
We've grown. We've matured. All right, our first genre is cookies.
Okay, well, again, I'm going to divert just for a second.
Okay.
Because the Horizon did raise a good point in chat here. He said,
what do you say?
This should be good. I feel like most chefs are not big fans of dessert. So I'm going to digress for a little bit, and I'm going to agree with that. Not huge fans of dessert. And to put this as eloquently as I can, I'm going to quote. So I went to the Le Cordon Bleu in Boston, Massachusetts. All right, technically it was in Cambridge. It's no longer there. They shut it down. I don't know whether it was because the higher ups were embezzling or just wasn't making money or whatever. So it's no longer there. But the head chef from Le Cordon Bleu, from the world headquarters, came in and he gave a speech. And he is notoriously known for just hating on bakers for whatever reason. And it was to the point where like the baking professors didn't even show up for the speech, or if they were there, they got up and walked. Again, I don't know why. This was decades ago. But the guy comes up and he's giving his normal, pep talk. Oh, you're learning so much. It's good. You got to focus. You got to practice. But then he goes on this random tangent against bakers. It just came out of left field. He was like, what are you talking about? He was like calling him lazy. And he was like, yeah, you have to understand in cooking, you want something cool, you cool it down. But in baking, you wait. And you wait, in cooking, you heat it up and then you spin it around and you flip it and you get it on the plate. You get the plate hot and then you shove it into the customer's face. But in baking, you wait. And you wait and you do a little design and then you cut it and then you put it on the plate and then you wait a little bit more. You put it in the fridge and then you wait and then you put it in front of the customer, but they have to wait because everybody has to get their own dessert. And then you wait some more and you're like, can we get back to class? Like, what is going on? But it's true. In cooking, it is active. You are engaged. You want it, you hit it with a little bit more salt. You taste it. Baking, you're not. It's chemistry. You put it together. You put it in the oven. You hope it turns out okay. You hope your icing or frosting or whatever doesn't break and ruin and turn out all smudgy or whatnot. So we are not huge fans of dessert in terms of creating it. I'm a huge fan in terms of eating it. And with that segue, sorry, what was the first category?
Well, so real quick, first of all, I want to point out immediately, I know that whole thing that you just did is going to be multiple shorts. So just a heads up with that. I'm putting out a lot of shorts on that.
I will tell you, that is 100% true.
Really?
And also, that is probably the only accent I will do on stream from my cooking school. I have many more. But I think I can only do the French and not get canceled. So that is 100% true story. 100% true.
The second thing I would point out, and Horizon in chat is ahead of me already. Like, we need to make a Ratatouille movie with RussCooks narrating a thing that happens. Like, I want to just hear you comment in your French voice on the movie Ratatouille as we were watching the entire. Like we need more of that. That's the next thing you got to do on your YouTube channel.
I do not eat this. What even is this? I do not eat this. So get it away.
I love it, man. Okay, so on a more serious note, just curious because you said that most chefs don't like desserts, like making desserts. Would you include yourself in that category?
I'm not a huge dessert maker.
Okay.
Correct.
I wasn't sure. I knew you were talking generally, but I didn't know if that was the same for you or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
and don't get me wrong. I mean, there's so much more into it. You can be creative. You come up with fun. You can do simple desserts this way. You don't have to do anything kind of crazy. You can do simple desserts. You can get new flavors together and come up with it and have it be great, and that's fine. And that's what I'm talking about. But some of the more tedious desserts, like this guy, I don't have the patience.
Yeah.
And the expression "never trust a skinny chef."
Yep.
That's BS. It's never trust a skinny baker because they're standing around waiting all the time. You have to let your cake cool for 4 hours before you can frost it or whatever. No, the chef, he's running around. They're skinny. They don't have time to eat.
That makes sense.
I have time to eat when I was in a restaurant. The bakers did though. Oh, we got to try this. Chocolate cake. Ooh,
that makes a ton of sense. I'm with you on that though too. Like I'm obviously not a chef, but I enjoy cooking, grilling, making things on the stove. Can't stand anything involved in the oven. Like I just want nothing to do with baking at all. No, thank you. It's boring and I can't do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Let's move on to eating desserts as opposed to cooking desserts.
Okay. Fantastic.
So cookies are our first topic here. Before you rank where you would put cookies, what's your favorite type of cookie if you had to choose one?
I'm going to go with the classic. Chocolate chip, brown butter chocolate chip. Just done.
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing better. You get a nice cold glass of milk. I like it a little bit chewy, a little bit soft, a little bit gooey. Got to be warm. Phenomenal. What's better than that? What's better than that? It's not. Hey, sometimes you get into these sugar cookies. They're too sweet, hurt your teeth. I have some food intolerances. Too many nuts. But don't get me wrong. Sometimes you get a little salty in there, a little pretzel, a little caramel, something like that. You have a little fun with it. But chocolate chip is probably my go-to. I love it. I make them all the time.
Soft, gooey, warm, salty nuts. Guys, we're talking about cookies, to be clear.
Cookies.
For anybody that was not paying attention, we are talking about cookies. I am with you, though. Like the brown butter in particular, chocolate chip cookies, chef's kiss.
Takes it up to 11.
Yes.
It up
Yes.
a little bit.
It's easily my number one cookie if I'm picking one. With that being said, okay, where are you putting cookies in general in your tier ranking?
All right. Again, not to digress again. But all right. So we have cookies, we have pudding and custards, we have pies and tarts, we have cakes, and we have frozen treats.
Yes.
Where does tiramisu fit in here?
So
that's
a good question. So
because it is so many, it has cookies in it. It
yes,
has
I wouldn't consider it a cookie though.
I wouldn't consider it a cookie either.
So tiramisu,
I'm leaning towards cake. I'm leaning towards cake.
Oh boy.
Let me ask ChatGPT.
Chat. Tell us, chat, right now, and those of you listening afterwards, what is tiramisu? Is it a cake? I'd be torn between cake and pudding / custard, because the filling is more of a custardy filling. I wouldn't lean cake. I know there's cookie. I know there's cookie elements to it, but it's not a cookie.
And it's no bake. And you don't bake it. Like a cake, you bake it. I mean, custards,
I would.
Some
I'd lean more towards a custard personally. That's because I guess the other thing for me is that's the part of it I like the most. I like the custardy part of it.
Well, it's like the whipped kind of cheese, and you get a little bit of the raw egg in there. But again,
Well, you're the chef. Where would you put tiramisu at?
I don't know. I was thinking cake because you have the layers.
Yes.
It is the perfect dessert.
But is an ice cream parfait a cake?
Is it a frozen ice cream parfait?
Because it has layers.
Yeah, but it doesn't have.
Is an onion a cake?
Cake layers? I mean, the cookie turns into a cake. The cookie turns into cakey. That bread. Okay. This is going to be tough. All right. So cookies, ranking it, and I have S, A, B, C, and D. C obviously stands for Canada.
Correct.
Geez, this is tough. This is tough. I'm probably because I love cookies so much. It's like my go-to dessert. They're easy, they're quick, they're delicious. But I am going to say B tier.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Right in the middle.
I was afraid you were gonna go lower, to be honest with you. I thought you were gonna go C or D, which I would have not been happy about. For me, I'm probably gonna go A. I'm gonna go a little higher, simply because of the classic nature of it. Like, so if I'm at home and I'm like, I want something for dessert, and my choice is make cookies, and I know we're making at this point, but still, it's kind of what you have to do if you're at home. Make cookies, make some kind of a custardy thingy, make a pie, grab something from the freezer, or make a cake. Like, the cookie is the best and most easily makeable and, sit at home ready to go thing there is. So because of the ease factor of it, as well as the how great it is, I'm going to put it in the A tier, just a little bit above B.
I respect that. Yeah, I was a little bit going back and forth.
Yeah, it's a tough one. If I didn't go A, I would say B. So I'm not far off on that with you at all.
All right, good respect. Yeah.
Before we do the next one, ice cream cookie. Where are you putting that at? Like, is that a cookie? Is that ice cream? That's a frozen treat.
The ice cream sandwich that's in between two cookies.
Sandwich, yes.
That is a frozen treat.
Frozen treat. Okay, good. We're on the same page on that. Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Just want to make sure, because when you made the chocolate chip ice cream sandwich video that you made, I think you made a video. I think you did it on Twitch as well, because I think I remember watching the live stream of it. That might have been the sexiest food thing I've ever seen on camera. Like, I was just like, oh my God, give that to me all day long. And I was drawn to the cookie.
Delicious.
Not the ice cream as much. It was more the cookie.
And the key to that is you have to put it in the freezer and let it sit, because the cookie will absorb some of that kind of like moisture in it, and it will turn it into, so if you've ever just thrown ice cream in between two cookies and you took a bite, you instantly knew your mistake, because it squished down and pushed all the ice cream out.
Yep.
But if you let it sit and kind of in that freezer, then when you bite it, it doesn't push the ice cream out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page on that, because I'm drawn to the cookies. I know, right? I'm drawn to the cookies of that, but I still think it's a frozen treat. Okay,
well, it is a frozen, but that's what makes it. That's what makes it. You've just, enhanced the cookie by adding ice cream.
I agree.
So, okay, we're on to the next one.
Yes, and I just want to yell at Horizon in chat right now. Cookies and cream is not overrated, sir. Settle down. We will do an ice cream tier ranking at some point. Settle down. All right, next up on our dessert category tier ranking, we have puddings / custards. Do you have a favorite type of pudding / custard dessert?
I'll be honest, I'm not a big pudding guy. Don't like the texture. Not like yogurt. Don't do the pudding. Okay. Never, Bill Cosby, I knew something was wrong from the get-go, trying to sell me that pudding. It's core memory, no to pudding. With that said, custard, a flan is delicious if done well. It's delicious. Yes. I can't eat a lot of them. It will destroy me from the inside out, and hopefully I'm not alone in that. But it's a lot of condensed milk, and that. But you get that like caramel top, and then that like kind of caramel juice or whatever that drips down. Oh my goodness, yes, delicious. So my whole thing here is I'm not a huge fan of these, but my worry is that someone's going to pop in and be like, oh, by the way, tiramisu is a custard. And I will have shot myself in the foot.
Yeah.
But I will say that if tiramisu is not a custard, did we ever establish? If it is not a custard, I would probably do, D tier. I would do D tier. And the crazy thing is, if tiramisu is a custard, I would go S tier. But I'm just saying that it's probably not. I think it's a combination of these desserts and doesn't fall into one solid category. So I'm saying pudding, custards, D tier.
Wow. So first of all, I don't think I can consider it a cake. It is It is. There, I know there are some bits of it that are cake, but there's too much custard in there, in my opinion, for it to be considered a cake. So I just can't.
It's like a trifle. Is a trifle a custard? I don't know. When I think custard dessert, I think of something like flan. That's what I think of.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that.
Like a baked, like a whatchamacallit, with a crackly top. Oh my God. Why am I drawing a blank on this? Creme brulee. Oh,
yes, creme brulee is one of my
brulee
favorites as well.
Delicious.
Yes,
I love that. That's what I think when I think of custard dessert. I think of like a Savoyard sauce. You put it over fruit and bake it, and that's like a custardy fruit dish. Yeah, I don't think. I think tiramisu is its own thing. It's a combination of multiple things. But
so
anyway,
creme brulee. Just to be clear, maybe I'm wrong on creme brulee. Creme brulee would be considered a custard, correct?
that's what I would consider.
Yes. Okay. Just wanted to make
As
sure.
opposed to what? What would you consider it? What would be the other?
I wouldn't have another. If it was not a custard, I was going to be a total loss because
Yeah.
I was like, well, then I'm not having the right creme brulee. So I just want to make sure. So I did just Google, is tiramisu a cake? And it's AI, but AI says traditional tiramisu is technically classified as a layered Italian no-bake dessert or custard pudding rather than a traditional baked cake. So according to the
I take
AI
offense.
answer,
Okay, yeah, Google AI, which is good for nothing. No, I'm gonna get on my soapbox here. Which is good for nothing. You'll ask it, oh, does this have this? And it'll be like, yeah, and you're like, it obviously does not. You are wrong. That AI. But custards are baked. You cook the eggs. Same with like puddings. There's like a set. You set it. You don't do that with the tiramisu. All right, we're getting too bogged down with this.
I
Sorry.
think I think they're very valid arguments though, because here's why. In my opinion, I would put a tiramisu in the custard category. I think of it as a custard. I do not think of it as a cake. And it has a heavy influence in my ranking. So first of all, like if I'm picking my top two favorite desserts, it's probably tiramisu and creme brulee. Those are probably my two all-time favorites. Creme brulee clearly is a custard, and I would argue tiramisu is a custard as well.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and backtrack and say if tiramisu is a custard, which I still argue against, I'm going to say then S tier for pudding custards. S tier. S.
Let's go! We did it, guys! We did it! We convinced them. Because I'm going S tier as well. For me, pudding / custards, heavy emphasis on the custards is S tier. I'm kind of with you on pudding. Like pudding for me is just Canada. It's just okay. Like I'm not really looking to eat it, but
it really weighs down the category.
Yes, it really does. I agree. but custards, especially if we're including tiramisu in this, absolutely S tier all day long. I'm glad we were able to talk some sense into you, Russ. Good job, chat. I don't think the chat had anything to do with it. I think they all argue the opposite. I'm just going to pretend like I'm right, like I always do when we do tier rankings.
Perfect.
It's how we do it here. All right, moving on. Yes, moving on to our next one. Pies / tarts. Now, I don't think there's as much of a delineation between these two, right? Or juxtaposition, I guess I should say. They're pretty much the same thing. One's just bigger, one's smaller.
Ooh.
No? Oh man, I just made you mad. Okay, I didn't know that.
What are we doing here? Well, I mean, here's.
Now you know how the chat feels when I talk about Queen. They're just sad.
It's nothing but a short pie. That's gonna haunt my dreams.
Well,
they're different doughs. So
different doughs.
Pie dough. Okay, so yeah. First off, yes, tarts are a little bit shorter, not just in height, but also the dough itself. You have a short dough, and the opposite of a short dough is a flaky dough.
See, when I said it was shorter, I was right. I just didn't even know it.
Hold on. Let me also just sidetrack here. So lemon tart is obviously a tart, but kind of custard in the tart. you know, you have eggs, and lemon, and
yeah,
bacon. So it's like
this is a good
custardy.
point.
But we're gonna say tart, and we'll stick with tart.
I would still say that's a tart.
Yeah, I think they're both fantastic. You have so many different types. You got the freeform tart. Yes, you have the little with the shorter with the little ridges. You got lemon. You get other fruits. You gloss it up. If you don't know, when you walk into a bakery and you see that like fruit on top and it's all glossy, you know what? They spray it with a little combination of apricot jam and a little bit of water to make it a little flow, and then it kind of like solidifies and gives it that nice gloss, and you don't really taste too much of it. Anyway, I'm a huge fan of pies and tarts. I'm a huge fan. This is going to be hard.
Before you place it, are you team cream pie or team fruit pie?
My God, this is, and we have to.
Listen, I like getting controversial on these.
Listen, I'll just say, who doesn't like a good cream pie?
I agree. Give me cream pie all day long, baby.
Yes. However, I really think the heart and soul of pies is the fruit-based pie. I mean, you have apple pie. What's more quintessential than that? You use your fresh fruit. You know, it's just such a summer treat. You get some ice cream on it, and it's just fantastic. So I am definitely more fruit than I am cream when it comes to the pie.
Interesting. I understand the quintessentialness, but I still love a good cream pie all day long, baby.
Yes. I remember having a similar discussion when I was working on a pie book, and we were talking about cream pies and making sure that I put enough space. I don't know.
If you know, you know, right? If you know, you know.
Nut pie, as in pecan pie, which, by the way, is the correct way to pronounce it.
Pecan. Yeah, I don't say pecan. No.
Pecan is what you keep underneath your bed when you don't want to walk all the way to the outhouse when you have to go to the bathroom.
Amen.
God, I forgot. Pecan pies. That was one of my favorite until I developed the nut allergy, which sucked.
Oh, no. When did that happen?
I was working on a paleo cookbook, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the paleo diet. Why not? I'm an idiot, so let's just do it. And I started slowly dying, and, to put it mildly, but then I lived. So someone came to me and they're like, oh, how do you feel? And I was like, I feel awful, like death. Like I'm cramping. It is terrible. And they're like, it's just the toxins leaving the body. You just got to push through it. You got to last. I'm like, it's been 3 weeks. You got to do 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
So anyway, I eventually went to a doctor, and it took many doctors. I mean, they probed me. They probed everywhere, Shaka. Everywhere.
I've been tested for allergies, man. I know.
And this was even they didn't even send me to an allergist yet. They probed
this was the initial
probing. Swallowed
probing.
a chicken bone. So let's go in this way. You know what? We didn't find anything going in that way. Let's go in the other way. Oh my God. Do I have to be awake for this? Can you just knock me out? And then eventually they sent me to an allergist, and they're like, yeah, you're allergic to all these things. What have you been eating? All these things. So it's a different type of allergy. It's not, I don't get like an anaphylactic. It's not even like an intolerance. Like I am full on allergic to it. Like my food tube will swell up. I'll have stomach pain. It'll feel like someone's stabbing me. Very painful.
Oh, interesting.
But I love pecan pie. And I actually had a video that was a nut-free pecan pie. I got so much hate. You can't have nut-free pecan pie. I use like cornflakes or something for that crunch on top. And that's custardy as well. You know what? So what did I put? I put cookies as B, custards as S. This is tough. I already know what my D tier is.
Yeah.
So this is between A and C for me. Well, which one's going to be Canada? I mean, frozen treats for Canada. That makes sense because they're so cold. That's where all the cold air comes from. That's where we need to build the wall. Again, I digress here.
Your train of thought is very good, though.
You know what? I'm going to go A tier, and it has grown on me over the years. I will say, if I was ranking this, if I was like 10, this would probably be D tier.
Yeah.
But I really love a good tart and a good pie. So A tier.
I'm with you on the, if I was a kid, it would be lower, but as an adult, it has gone up more now. For me, it's very, very similar. So I had cookies in A. I'm putting pies / tarts in B. So I just prefer a cookie over a pie for me. That's the biggest thing. But they're still very, very good. A for American, it's science. Exactly. Well, speaking of alliteration, guys, and things that should go where they appropriately belong to, that leads us to our next one, which is frozen treats. I think we're very much on the same page on this one.
Yeah.
I'll go first. They're good. They're okay, but they're cold and they belong in Canada. So I'm putting frozen treats in Canada.
Yeah, I agree. What is a frozen treat? Like ice cream?
Ice cream,
cold,
yeah.
That's just cold custard.
Gelato.
It's just frozen custard. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You just chilled it further. Don't get me wrong. I love vanilla ice cream, some hot fudge. Fantastic. But it just doesn't, it's easy. It just doesn't get my motor going like some of these others. So
Yeah.
definitely. I'm right there. C tier.
Yeah, there's some things I think that hit better than others. So like Contingent in chat called out the Snickers ice cream bar. That is one of my absolute favorites. But I don't walk around being like, oh God, I'd love to have some ice cream right now. Like it's nice if it's hot out and it's a little treat, kind of like having a cookie is a nice treat. But I don't walk around craving it like I would like tiramisu or creme brulee or an apple pie or a pecan pie, like some of those things you crave because they're just so good.
Yeah.
Frozen treats.
Just think about it like this too. You go out to a nice restaurant and you get a dessert list. The only time you order ice cream is if there's nothing else that you're in the mood for. That's it. It's always like, you're like, oh, I got to try this or I got to try this. It's never like, I really feel like some ice cream. Don't even show me the menu, sir. Bring me 3 scoops. No.
That's a
It's
very
not
good
that
point.
way.
It's the absolute last thing I'm ever ordering on a menu if I have a choice.
Yes.
That's a really good point. Well, that's pretty easy one then, man. We're both really in agreement on that one.
There we go.
For those of you out there, so I forgot to mention, where would you guys place cookies? We had it split between A and B. Pudding custard, we had it in S. Pie tart, split between A and B. And then frozen treats. Where would you put it? And tell me why frozen treats belongs in Canada, and that's all I need to know. Thank you, everybody. All right, with that being said, moving on to our final dessert category, and I'm actually shocked that we're going to be on the same page on this one.
Agree here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our final one is cakes. I'll let you go first, and then I'll just piggyback on you. Like, what's your favorite type of cake, and why are you putting this in D?
I don't have a favorite type of cake,
Oh,
and that's
God.
probably why I'm putting it in D. I mean, like, I love funfetti cupcakes, and I have a recipe for a fantastic chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. It's amazing, but cakes I don't know. It's just so blah. It's yes, you get it once a year. It's your birthday, but and I don't know whether it's also just because it's so easy to mess up and not have a good one. Like too much frosting, not enough
Yes.
frosting, too much cake. You get dry cake. A lot of times people will keep it in the fridge and then they'll pull it out and then you get cold. It's not supposed to be cold. You're supposed to keep it at room temperature. It's not an ice cream cake. An ice cream cake, I would say, is also a frozen treat. There's
Correct.
nothing really.
But it's my
special
favorite.
about a cake.
If I'm picking a favorite cake, it's an ice cream cake.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Because that's
Right.
That's Canada tier. right
Exactly.
there. But I mean, they can be pretty. They can be great to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when it comes to like eating, I'm just like meh, meh,
Yeah.
meh.
I think it's funny. I was just thinking about like, what's the best part of a cake? Like for me, it's either the filling of the cake, which isn't cake, or the icing on a carrot cake. Fun fact, I hate what is it? Sugar based icing, frosting,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it. I can't stand it. I don't mind whipped cream as a frosting, and I like
Yes.
cream cheese as an icing. But
Yeah.
outside of that, I don't at all. And even then, neither of those things is cake. That's just the frosting or icing, whatever you want to call it, that goes on top of it. Like,
Yeah.
I like everything but the cake itself. Like, fun fact, for my birthdays, I insist that no one gets a birthday cake for me because I won't eat it. I'm like, if you get me a birthday cake, I'm not eating it because I hate cake. It's that
That's
simple. I hate cake.
I got another fun fact for you.
Yeah.
At my wedding, I didn't even have a wedding cake.
Really?
Someone brought a cake because they heard I wasn't doing a wedding cake.
Yeah.
So they brought a cake, but we didn't even have a wedding cake. We served whoopie pies.
Nice.
And we had pies, regular pies. So we had whoopie pies and regular pies.
That's awesome.
That's what we did. Anyway.
See, Pittsburgh's ahead of the game. For anybody that's not familiar with the Pittsburgh tradition, we have cookie tables at our weddings.
Nice.
So in addition to, they usually do have a wedding cake, but we also, like both families typically will, and friends sometimes, will bake tons and tons and tons of cookies, and they put them all on the table. So if you don't like cake like me, you can go and you can pick up a whole bunch of different cookies. And then usually at the end, they've got a bunch of leftovers and they say, here's a box as kind of a thank you gift. And you get to take home a bunch of cookies with you too. Like, Pittsburgh has it right, guys. They nailed the NFL draft. They know how to nail weddings, and they know how to make salads the right way too. Like, Pittsburgh's got it going on, guys. You guys need to come visit the food scene here. It's amazing. Anyway, I feel the same way. D tier. I don't like any cakes. I kind of said it. I'm piggybacking with you on that one. They're terrible. They're just terrible.
Yeah. The only time they're good is if they're impersonating another dessert, like strawberry shortcake.
Yes.
Yeah, you're getting pretty close to pie territory over here. You know,
right.
With the fruit.
Yep.
And then the ice cream cake. Yeah.
Which isn't even cake. Yeah. The best kinds of cakes are things that aren't actually cake. Like, that's how bad cake is.
Like tiramisu.
Yes. It's not even real cake. I love it, man. I didn't think we would be as much on the same page with a lot of that stuff as we were. Oh, Ellie in chat, very good point. Cheesecake. Okay. Cheesecake, would you consider cheesecake a cake or a custard?
That's a custard.
That's a custard. Thank you.
I gotta say, that's a custard.
Yeah, it's a custard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best kinds of cakes aren't actually cakes. Love it, guys.
There's nothing other than cake in the name that makes that a cake. Nothing.
I agree.
There's no layers. There's no frosting. There's nothing about that is cake.
Amen. Let us know in the comments, guys. Chat is already popping off about this. Let us know in the comments if you were watching this after the live recording of it, folks. What are your thoughts on our tier rankings? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? I imagine we've got some pretty hot takes here for a lot of everybody, except for the cake take. That's just right. Let's be honest here. Russ, before we call it an evening and head on out, sir, pimp your stuff, sir. Let everybody know how they can see more of you. I know that's a little bit of a controversial thing. If you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to. But let them know a little bit about your background in terms of content creation, sir.
Yeah. So I have that YouTube channel, which I mentioned. It's just youtube.com/RussCooksLive. Excuse me. youtube.com/RussCooksLive. Yeah, I mean, I don't post any more stuff, but if you want to see someone cook, I'm one of those people who I never got into Instagram and TikTok, and I should have, but I didn't like those short form because they never, other than obviously I love the sound of my own voice, they never explained why they're doing it. So I always love to explain the method. And I do it this way because of X, Y, and Z. I'm not just dumping, half teaspoon of garlic, half teaspoon salt, some onion, stirring it around a pan. I'm explaining, no, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you do this. Because it's important, that's how you learn, that's how you get better. And it keeps you from, just being a recipe follower to becoming a chef and a cook. And that's why I did what I did.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get back at it at some time, but go check it out, get some recipes. And then if you check it out, obviously follow me on Instagram. There's links there. And I'm not on Twitter anymore, but there's Twitter and TikTok. And
no one's on Twitter anymore.
No, well, X. No one calls it X. Yeah, no one.
Right, no one calls it X. Yeah.
Yeah. Press conferences like, so you mentioned on Twitter or you tweeted. It's not like you. What did you X'd? X'd? What is it?
You guys X'd.
So
yeah, makes no sense. Guys, get over there, give him some love. Even though he is not currently, not currently creating content, he has amazing content over there. I mentioned it a little bit earlier in our podcast here. Great stuff. You can always learn a ton from his stuff. It's very, very educational. And he's really, really great to look at. So it's a win-win for everybody. Let's be honest here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of things that you guys like, including looking at Russ, if you liked today's podcast, folks, this is something I always need to shout out because we have a ton of people that watch this content and then don't subscribe/like it. I would really, really appreciate it, folks, if you guys are liking it and more so subscribing to it so that we can get more of you to see our content on the regular. It would be much appreciated, everybody. Whether you are here live in chat or listening afterwards, it'd be super appreciated. With that being said, everybody, one last little thank you to RussCooks for being our guest today, guys. It was a ton of fun, man. Much appreciate you being here, sir.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. It was a ton of fun. Thank you. Absolutely,
sir. Guys, we will catch you on the next Shawk Talk Tuesday. Have a good rest of your week, everybody.
Welcome on in and take a seat. Conversations that can't be beat. Music and movies to name a few. Sports and drinks and tiramisu. This is a podcast for everyone. Time to chat and have some fun. Shawk Talk, Shawk Talk. Time to chat